Her entitled children reduced her to a maid and threw her out of her own mansion the moment her wealth vanished. But what they didn't know was it was all a test, and what she did next would leave them shattered. Madame Ebube Nwakoy, known across the East as Mama Empire, sat quietly at her rosewood desk in the stillness of her study. Her gaze was frozen on the wall, like a painful memory had been etched there. Her wrapper shimmered gently, her blouse was perfectly pressed, and she looked like a woman preparing for a major meeting. But there was no meeting, no appointments, nothing on her schedule. She hadn't moved in over an hour. One hand supported her chin, the other hung motionless. She wasn't blinking. She wasn't sighing. Just still as if something deep inside her chest had stopped moving. At her age, she had everything. 4 booming depots, 7 thriving boutiques, a mansion that made people stop and take pictures when they passed by. Her name commanded respect in the Onitsha market. Her face had graced magazine covers and local business shows. Her money didn't just raise her children, it raised entire families. Yet, despite all her success and all the greetings of "Good morning, Ma" from house staff, she couldn't hide the growing shame pressing against her soul. Because despite everything she built, her children amounted to nothing. She closed her eyes and the pain rose like bile from her stomach to her throat. The memories flooded her, fast and heavy. Her husband died when their children were still toddlers. Barely 2 weeks after the burial, his family evicted her without mercy. She left with her daughter on her back and her son in her arms. Carrying only a nylon bag and whatever pride she had left, she remembered sleeping on bare floors in the back of someone's shop, frying bean cakes with a baby strapped to her back, crying softly in crowded buses. She carried bales of fabric under the scorching sun, drank soaked gari so her kids could eat rice, borrowed endlessly to pay their school fees, and prayed nightly that the landlord wouldn't disgrace her publicly. She once fasted for 3 weeks just to pay their WAEC fees. From a single stall in Aba Market, she built an empire importing goods directly from Dubai, China, and Turkey. She became the woman everyone pointed to, the woman who built without a man, the woman who dominated the fabric business in the entire Southeast. She bought her mansion block by block, gate by gate with cash. Now, she sat in that same house, surrounded by 2 grown adults who wouldn't lift a broom. Her son, Chuka, was once her pride. She sent him to the best schools, paid in dollars, gave him the world. When he graduated, she threw a massive party, danced like someone granted a visa. But when he came home, he looked her in the eye and said, "I don't want a job. I want to be a businessman like you, Mama." He asked for money to start a tire importation business. She gave him double what he asked. 3 months later, there was no business, no reports, no receipts, nothing. Before she could even ask questions, he returned with another brilliant idea. "Mama, crypto is the future. Just give me capital, it'll triple by Christmas." She gave him the money. It disappeared quicker than the tire venture. Then came the perfume hustle. Then gym equipment. Then a laundry logistics app. Each more foolish than the last. And yet every time Chuka failed, he shrugged it off in a designer shirt. "It's not failure, Mama, it's experience." Experience that was eating through her account like acid. Her daughter, Ifeoma, was no better. She returned from university with a glow ring and a big dream. She wanted to be a lifestyle influencer. "Mama, I just need a ring light, a backdrop, a nice camera. I'll be doing makeup and fashion content." Ebube didn't get it, but she gave her everything. Converted a guest room into a studio. Even assigned staff to help. 6 months later, the ring light gathered dust. "It's hard," Ifeoma pouted. "Nobody's engaging with my content." The following week, she started selling shoes and handbags. Again, Mama funded everything. But within a month, all the inventory had mysteriously vanished. Every bag she was supposed to sell had already been styled and flaunted by her in TikTok videos. When Ebube asked what happened to the stock, she said, "Mama, I had to model them first." Ebube nearly used one of those same bags to model her frustration across her own head. But the final blow came when Chuka got a girl pregnant. When Ebube confronted him, he said calmly, "I'm not ready for marriage. I'm still figuring things out." "You're not ready," she replied coldly. "But your sperm was ready? You planted cassava, and now that the harvest is here, you're hiding?" She dragged him to the girl's family and arranged a quiet introduction. A month later, the girl moved into the house, and that was when true madness began. The girl, Pamela, would leave unwashed plates everywhere, watch TV from dawn till dusk, and walk around in tiny shorts and bra tops, raising her voice like she was co-owner of the property. One day, she even told Ebube, "Mama, can we change this couch? It's giving old school." Ebube nearly fainted. And just when she thought it couldn't get worse, Ifeoma came back home, baby in hand, suitcase in tow. "Mama, I left my husband," she said boldly. "He was treating me like a house girl. Me, baby girl like me. Cooking and sweeping." Ebube looked at her, looked at the child, and said nothing. Now the mansion was overcrowded. 2 adult children, a rude daughter-in-law, 3 grandchildren, and only one person buying food, paying utility bills, and managing the entire household, the woman who built it all. Every night, she'd sit at her desk hearing laughter from the living room, TikTok videos blaring, and Netflix echoing from multiple bedrooms, while her account balance cried for help. One night, she looked into the mirror, eyes dull, and whispered, "I built this life with blood, and now I'm being drained by the very people I bled for." She reached into her drawer and pulled out an old business card, Barrister Okon, estate and property consultant. She picked up her phone and dialed. "Hello, Barrister. It's Ebube. I want to do something. I want to test my children." She paused, then added, "If they fail, I will deal with them the way life never did." It started like a well-written play. One quiet evening, Madame Ebube Nwakoy slammed the door louder than usual. Her wrapper was askew. Her scarf sat sideways like it had fought with the wind. Her handbag dropped to the floor like it had given up. Before anyone could ask, she burst into tears. "I'm finished. I'm ruined. Everything is gone." The house went into chaos. Chuka ran downstairs shirtless. Ifeoma ran out, one eyelash barely hanging on. Pamela paused her YouTube cooking video and waddled in with oil-stained fingers. "Mama, what happened? Mama, please don't scare us. Mama, talk to us now." Ebube collapsed onto the center couch, threw her head back and wailed even louder. "They've finished me. My sweat, my blood, everything I built with my hands, it's all gone." Amara dropped to her knees. "Mama, who did this to you?" She sniffed, wiped her face with the edge of her wrapper, and looked them over one by one. There was a fire, a big one. They gasped. It started at Odenigbo Market. Nobody knows how. But once it began, area boys invaded. They smashed shops. They looted everything. My warehouse gone. Even the container I just cleared from Port Harcourt. My entire savings was in it. She raised her voice again. "They've ruined me." The room fell completely silent. Even the housemaid hiding in the hallway froze. "Mama, so what are we going to do now?" Chinedu asked quietly. She turned to him slowly. "What do you mean, we? Are you not a man? Are you not my first son?" He swallowed. "I only have this house left," she said, "and my car. Everything else is gone. The bank account is empty." Silence. Then Amara broke it. "Mama, but my birthday is next week." Ebel turned to her slowly, like a lioness hunting her prey. "You said?" "Nothing," Amara muttered. Chinedu cleared his throat. "Mama." "About my son's birthday next month." Ebel stood up so sharply, Her wrapper fell off her shoulder. "You're talking about birthdays when I just told you I lost everything? This is how I know. I failed as a mother." She left them standing there and climbed the stairs with her bag without another word. The next morning, she didn't come down for breakfast. Nobody heard her move. By afternoon, the driver announced he'd been relieved of duty. By evening, the remaining staff had packed their bags. Madame Ebel said she could no longer afford salaries. Just like that, a mansion that once operated like a mini hotel became a quiet, haunted palace. Everyone assumed the children would step up. They didn't. They waited. The next day, she stayed in bed staring at the ceiling like she was watching invisible demons crawl. Her body was still, her spirit even quieter. Amara tiptoed into her room. "Mama, you're not going to the market today?" Ebel didn't turn her head. "There is no market to go to. It's gone. Everything is gone." That was the moment it sank in. The buffet was closed. That's when the real suffering began. By the end of the week, the whole house changed. Meals reduced, TV fell silent, laughter dried up. One by one, everyone began plotting how to survive. Amara stopped wearing wigs. She started carrying her baby like an emotional support item. She sighed dramatically while scrolling through Instagram, hoping one of her rich friends would post a giveaway. Chinadu mostly stayed outside. When he came inside, it was just to charge his phone or complain about heat. Mama Ebel, despite it all, still woke up early. She swept the compound. She washed dishes. She mopped the floor. One morning, while sweeping under the couch, Chinadu simply lifted his legs, still glued to his phone. Ifunaya sat nearby on the armrest, sipping tea. The grandchildren ran around with muddy feet. Amara emerged from her room, stood in front of the full-length mirror near the dining, and said casually, "Mama, shift small. Let me use the mirror." Ebel quietly stepped aside, broom still in hand. That day, she said nothing. She just kept sweeping, while tears sat quietly in her throat. Ifunaya was the first to show her full character. She went to the market, cooked a delicious pot of jollof rice, and filled the house with aroma. Everyone thought she was finally pitching in, but she served only her husband, her children, and herself. Not a grain was left for the woman who built the kitchen. She washed the pot, cleaned her plate, and walked back into her room like she had just signed a peace treaty with the UN. That night, Mama Ebel sat at the dining table, drinking pap and chewing groundnut. Her eyes were wet, but not from pepper. The next day, Amara did worse. She returned from the eatery with a big takeout pack, closed her door, and shared it with her son. When Mama Ebel knocked and asked gently, "Can I have some?" Amara replied, "Mama, it was just small. I didn't even eat well." That night, Mama Ebel took her blood pressure medicine with nothing but a banana and silence. The grandchildren stopped greeting her properly. The staff were gone. The fridge was empty. The silence in the house became louder than noise. But she didn't shout. She didn't curse. She was watching. The second week passed. Then the third. Nobody asked how she was eating. Nobody checked her wallet. Nobody offered help. Then, one morning, she woke up weak, hot, shaky. She had a fever, a dry cough, and a pounding headache. She called on Chinadu for help. "Mama, you know money is tight now. Maybe just rest and take paracetamol," he said. She nodded slowly and watched him walk away. Later that day, she dressed herself, stepped out alone, and walked slowly down the street. She begged the pharmacist near her estate for malaria drugs. On credit. The same woman who once donated 2 generators to the community clinic was now begging for help like a stranger. That night, as she lay in bed, her fingers trembling, her body burning, she whispered just one thing: "God, they failed." She said only one thing under her breath: "God, they failed." It all began quietly, just a few days after Mama Ebel had dragged herself, weak and trembling, to a local pharmacy to beg for malaria medicine on credit. Her body slowly started to heal. She was still coughing in the mornings, still moving cautiously, but at least she could now sweep without holding the wall for support. You'd expect her children to notice. You'd think they would show concern. But no. That week, instead of care, they started giving her orders. "Mama, please, I don't like the way the floor is smelling," Amara said one morning, sipping a smoothie while scrolling through her phone. "Can you mop again and this time try to use Dettol?" Mama Ebel just stared, and it didn't stop there. Ifunaya, the daughter-in-law, walked past her in the kitchen and scoffed. "You left plate in the sink since morning. Are we now living like pigs in this house?" Her voice was sharp, too sharp. Mama Ebel turned slowly from the pot of rice she was stirring. "Excuse me, who are you talking to?" "Oh, please." Ifunaya waved her hand. "If you want to stay in this house, at least try to be useful. Abi, you expect me to be cooking for you too? I'm not your maid, oh." Mama Ebel trembled not with fear, but with rage. She turned to her son. "You heard what your wife just said to me?" Chinadu didn't even lift his eyes from the PlayStation controller. "Mama, Abig, leave her." "Ifunaya has been stressed lately." Ebel blinked. "I am your mother." "Yes," he replied, "but you can't expect people to be doing everything for you. You said you don't have money again now, so everyone has to contribute." She looked around the house, the one she built with her bare hands. The imported tiles she chose herself from Italy. The chandelier she had flown in from Dubai. The paint colors she spent weeks arguing over with engineers. And now, they were telling her to pitch in? She kept quiet. Until that hot Thursday afternoon. Amara barged into the living room with the kind of attitude that could split concrete. She wore a crop top and shorts, a scarf tied lazily on her head. "Mama, shift, I need that mirror. I have a video to shoot." Ebel looked up from the chair where she was folding old wrappers. "Video? What kind of video?" "Mama, Abig, don't stress me." "TikTok video. You won't understand." She kept quiet. Then Amara muttered, just loud enough to hear, "Some people's mothers are enjoying soft life. Me, I'm here sharing mirror with one old woman who has turned this house into face me, I face you." That was when Mama Ebel snapped. She rose sharply, her wrapper slipping to the floor. "Everybody come out now. Chinadu, Ifunaya, all of you come here now." They came, one by one, groggy, irritated, unbothered. "What is it again, Mama?" Chinadu asked. Ebel pointed at them. "I am still your mother. I am the reason you have a roof over your heads. This house you walk around in like you own it, I built it with my hands. With my tears, with my blood," Amara scoffed. Ifunaya rolled her eyes. Chinadu just smirked. "Mama, is it not the same house you built in my name? The same house with documents that say Chindu Nwankwo?" Ebel froze. "Yes," he continued. "You thought we didn't know? You were trying to control us forever. Well, not anymore. You're old. You're broke. You're a burden. You should even be thanking us for letting you stay this long. What did you just say to me?" Her voice cracked. Ifunaya stepped forward. "We've talked about it as a family. You should move out. You need rest. Go and stay in one old people's home. Let us take over the house. We need peace." Mama Ebel stood there shocked, mouth open, breath frozen. Then Amara disappeared into her mother's room and returned minutes later with a faded suitcase. She flung open the wardrobe and began packing clothes like a crazy tailor in Ogbeat Market. Ebel followed her. Amara, what are you doing?" "Helping you pack, of course. Isn't that what you want?" "You want peace. We want peace. So, it's mutual." Chinadu walked in next, picked up the bag, and dragged it to the living room. "Mama, please leave with your dignity. Don't make this messier than it already is." Ifunaya opened the front door. "Let breeze touch your body, Ma. Fresh air is good for old age." Mama Ebel said nothing. She bent slowly, picked up her wrapper, and walked out. The gate closed behind her with a soft but deafening. Finality, silence. Minutes later, she checked into a 5-star hotel, ordered jollof rice and goat meat, lay on a bed that didn't squeak, and cried for hours. It had been a full week since Mama Ebel Nwankwo was thrown out of her own house like a common squatter. 7 days since her daughter, Amara, packed her belongings like she was tossing out an unruly tenant. Since Chinendu, her firstborn, the one she carried in her womb, the one she nursed with cracked nipples, grabbed her suitcase, opened the gate, and dumped it on the street like garbage. And all she could do was stand there, wrapper half-tied, lips trembling, eyes wide. That was the day she became a stranger to the home she built. Now she sat in a luxury suite at Crystal Palace Hotel. The air conditioner hummed louder than her thoughts. The white duvet felt like ice. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but her posture remained firm, straight, dignified. Her untouched meal of jollof rice and grilled chicken sat beside her cold, just like the silence in the room. Still not a single call from Chinedu, not one message from Amara, not even a simple, "Mama, are you okay?" Instead, she received a bill from the estate manager asking her to come and pay service charge. And worse news from her longtime friend, Madame Ngozi, that her children were now walking around town saying, "We now own the Asaba mansion." Mama Ebel chuckled bitterly. She wiped her face, picked up her phone, and dialed. "Barrister Chuka, good evening," she said. The lawyer's voice came through, calm and respectful. "Good evening, Madam Ebel." She didn't waste words. "Come to my hotel tomorrow morning. Bring your documents, everything. I want to rewrite my will." There was a pause. "Are you sure, Ma? You sound unsettled." "I'm not unsettled," she replied quietly. "I'm finally ready." The next morning, Barrister Chuka arrived at the hotel with a leather briefcase and his signature gentle expression. He found Mama Ebel sitting by the floor-to-ceiling window in soft powder blue silk, sipping pineapple juice. Her face was lightly powdered, but the puffiness under her eyes remained. She didn't offer him a seat. She just turned and said, "Write this down. From today onward, Chinedu Nwankwo is no longer my next of kin." His pen froze mid-air. "Remove him. Remove Amara too. In fact, remove all of them. I carried them. I fed them. I clothed them. I trained them. I suffered for them. And they repaid me by tossing me out of the house I built." She stood and walked slowly toward him. "I want my new next of kin to be the foundation I've been planning, the Ebel Nwankwo Women of Purpose Foundation. Everything, my stores, my properties, my estate belongs to it now." Chuka blinked, struggling to keep pace. "Madam, are you sure you want to disinherit your children?" Ebel smiled faintly, but the pain in her eyes didn't leave. "Let me tell you something, Barrister. The traders I helped in Onitsha Market treated me better than my own children. From today, my sweat will serve people who won't ever call me a burden." And with that, she signed the new will. Her hands didn't tremble. A week later, the highbrow estate in Enugu had never witnessed such a convoy on a Wednesday morning. Ebel didn't return alone. She arrived in a black Prado SUV flanked by another vehicle. Inside the second car was Barrister Chuka in a crisp black suit, holding the fresh will. Behind him, 2 police officers with a court order in hand. As they pulled up in front of the mansion, Chinedu stepped out wearing boxers and rubber slippers, a toothbrush in hand. He froze. Amara came downstairs in a short wrapper and wig cap, still scrolling through TikTok. Ebel stepped out like royalty. Her wine-red lace gown flowed with grace. Her gel was regal. Her eyes, ice-cold. No one spoke until Barrister Chuka opened an envelope and declared, You are both hereby served a quit notice. This property has legally been reclaimed by the rightful owner, Madame Ebel Nwankwo." Amara screamed, "Mama, Mama, please, we didn't mean it." Ebel raised a hand. "Keep your sorry." She turned to Chinedu. "You said I should just die, didn't you? That you were only waiting for me to pass so you could inherit everything?" She reached into her handbag and pulled out 2 sealed envelopes. "Here, 20 million naira each, that's all. Go and build your own empire. But this house, my name, my legacy, you'll never touch it again." Chinedu fell to his knees. Amara followed. They cried, begged, screamed. Ebel didn't blink. "I gave birth to you, but I will not let you bury me." She turned to the officers. "Escort them out." As her children were led out heads low, Amara sobbing, Chinedu whispering, "Mama, please." Ebel stepped into the mansion. The marble floor still gleamed. The chandelier still sparkled, but the scent of betrayal still hung in the air. She closed the door gently behind her, locked it, and whispered to no one, "You wanted me gone. Now live without me." 2 weeks after Mama Ebel threw her children out, the entire Enugu social circle couldn't stop talking. Chinedu and Amara packed their things with fake pride, rejecting the 20 million their mother had given them. They left like people who had a plan. Chinedu moved in with a friend. Amara squeezed into her old classmate's house who eyed her every time she touched the fridge. But they were determined to prove their mother wrong. Chinedu launched C-Link Tires, a tire importation venture, using borrowed funds from an old crypto partner. Amara dusted off her Instagram page and announced Amara Looks, a digital boutique. Both businesses collapsed before they even began. Chinedu had imported the wrong tire size. His goods got seized at the port. The customs officer he tried to bribe tricked him instead. Amara spent more time taking pictures than fulfilling orders. Customers complained about delays, poor quality, and ghosting after payments. In less than 2 months, they were broke, desperate, and starving. The same children who once shouted, "We're adults now. Mama can't tell us what to do," were now whispering, "Maybe we should go back and beg." And beg they did. They returned to the mansion one quiet Saturday morning, standing at the gate like strangers. Their clothes had lost their shine. Their eyes were hollow with struggle. "Gate man, please tell Mama we're here," Amara pleaded, voice trembling. The gateman didn't blink. He stepped inside and came back with a simple message. "Madam say make I throw Una out." They stood there, stunned. Chinedu tried to call her, switched off. Amara sent long apology texts, no reply. They tried again the next day, and the next. And the next week, still nothing. So they changed tactics. They brought their pastor, their old Sunday school teacher, their cousin from the village. Community leaders from Suka came wrapped in colorful headscarves, quoting scriptures. "Mama Ebel, forgive them. Blood is blood." Even the estate chairman's wife visited, once sipping malt slowly while pleading on their behalf. It took 3 long months of begging. Then one Tuesday evening, Ebel told the gateman, "Let them in." They entered quietly, knees to the floor in the parlor. Amara sobbed like rain. Chinedu wiped his face with his sleeve. "Mama, we have suffered," Chinedu whispered. "We've learned," Amara added. "Please forgive us." Ebel was silent for a long while. Then finally, she asked, "Do you truly understand what it means to suffer? What it means to sweat for your survival?" They nodded quickly. "Good," she said, "because my forgiveness is free. But the inheritance? It's gone." They looked up, confused. "I've given it all to charity," she said. "Everything. This house is now owned by a foundation. My shops are leased to an orphanage. You threw me away now. Those who never had mothers will enjoy what I built." "Mama," Amara gasped, Please, Chinadu tried. She raised a hand. I've forgiven you, but now you must stand without me. Stand without what I built. Build your own path. Let your children look up to you not because of what you inherited, but because of what you created. They wept. They pleaded. But this time, the door to the past was locked. The prodigal children had returned, but the legacy was no longer theirs. From that day forward, Chinadu and Amara worked harder than they ever had in their lives. And Mama Ebel? She sat quietly on her balcony every evening, sipping chilled Zobo as the wind kissed her cheeks. Let them grow, she whispered. Let them become someone. Eventually, she handed them the same 20 million they had once rejected. Use it wisely this time, she said calmly. This is your seed. Grow it yourself. They cried again. But this time, there was peace in the crying. This was their new reality, and they had no choice but to accept it with their full chest. Thank you for watching. What do you think of this story? Did Mama Ebel go too far? Or was this the justice her children needed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful African stories like this. Until next time, stay inspired.